Ladies and gentlemen, it's so good to see you all. And thank you very much, Rin, for the raid. I'm very grateful. So tonight's been an evening, shall we say. So, unfortunately, we're in a situation where we have quite a few absences for various reasons. But as they say on stage, the show must go on. But we still have Coffee Cat here, who plays Mouse. And after a moment of discussion, we decided that it'd be best to continue on. Because one of the things I like to expound is game is not always best in groups. Sometimes it's a lot of one-on-one at a time. But tonight, all eyes are on Mouse in more ways than one. And yet, we can only wonder what kind of mischief he's about to get into. See how things swing. So with that, we're going to end up having a little session. Detroit by Night. The Motor City Broke Down, episode 25. Youth. With that, let's introduce the kindred, the Canite, the Lick that will be following tonight. Mouse.
Oh boy, things have been really weird today. I first ran into I spent some time with the rest of the coterie trying to figure out what it is that we're trying to do, and they kind of sent me by myself to go visit Pride, who's been organizing everything with the red arm on the sleeves for the past week and a half or so. And so, upon visiting him, it's very clear that he's very strong. That much is without a doubt. But I did keep my eyes peeled, and I did keep my ears open. And he definitely seems to be in short supply of the different foods and medicines and things of that sort that he's kind of funneling into the neighborhood. So that might be something to bring up now that I've actually had some time to stew on it and think about it over the last couple of hours. And then Rashad sent me to go and investigate this guy, Brandon Crawford. Went to his house, went to see what was going on. He didn't really give me a whole lot to go on. But when I got there, I saw that pretty lady that he talked about that he saw at Elysium. The Harpy, if I remember right. And that's interesting. So I went in, kind of took note of the car she was leaving in, and went to go investigate to see if the guy was okay, see if there's anything left to find. And he's hanging from the ceiling fan by his neck. And that's disturbing.
I'd imagine so. Still, even when subjected to these things, you need to end up pushing on. Sometimes we have a hard time reminding ourselves of that, and yet we must. With that, Mouse, you've managed just now to get inside. Gone past the darkened hallways, all the lights are out. And the lights went out just a few moments ago in what appeared to be, if I recall, a living room.
Mm-hmm. I have a mask on. I have my hat pulled down. I have my hood up. I have everything, and my hands tucked into my pockets, just looking around the place to see what I can find and see if that guy's alive still.
I'm gonna need to roll 2 checks then. First thing
Mm-hmm.
would be I would need a intelligence plus medicine or wits, your choice.
We'll go intelligence.
Without touching the body, you take a look and it's that protruding of skin, like it's kind of reminds you of your neck in certain light. Bone is threatening to pierce skin as the strain on the body. The rope it's tied around Mr. Crawford's neck as he sways there. You can see that the ceiling fan it's almost partially ripped out. It seems like it was barely able to hold his weight, but it did.
Mm-hmm.
One of the fan, or one of the blades of the fan has broken heavily and fallen to the ground. You can see the chair underneath tilted sideways, and the only light was in the ceiling fan seems to have been burnt out or shattered on the impact.
Okay.
As far as the investigation, tell me exactly what you're doing.
I am just looking around, trying to see if there's possibly any note that might have been left, any information left out, anything that is meant to be found at this particular location to try and indicate that this was a suicide, because I know that it's not.
Well,
I know she's involved with it in some fashion.
roll me a wits investigation.
Okay. Ooh, that's a messy crit.
Okay. It's at this point you end up finding, well, it takes a little bit, but you don't find a suicide note per se. It's not until you start kind of looking at that pile of junk mail just at the front door. You
Mm-hmm.
see a bunch of letters that look like they were going out. There's no addresses or anything on them, but it looks like one of them was about to go out. You can see in the trash near his desk a bunch of crumpled up letters. Seem to be handwritten.
Mm-hmm.
And you also see a laptop. This laptop is currently closed, powered off, but it does sit at a writing desk.
Okay. Looking at the trash.
You going through it?
I will go through it
Okay.
one piece at a time, see if I can find anything.
All right. You continue to kind of peel through. And that's nothing, and that's nothing, and that's nothing. Like, what the hell are they looking for? And you know there's a matter of time.
Mhm.
You know it, and the stress starts to get to you as you're digging through papers. You're trying to end up finding what's the evidence, where is it. You end up doing so, and as you end up kind of absent-mindedly reach for the next bit, you kind of cast this steel mesh garbage tin, and it's as you're reaching for the next item, you hear a crash, breaking of glass. You look over your shoulder to where you threw the garbage, and it's gone completely out the window, quite literally.
Oh no. Oh no. Um. Okay, so I haven't gone through the mail yet.
No.
I'm taking the mail,
Okay.
stuffing it in my bag.
As you're stuffing these papers in, you see, or more accurately, you hear the sound of an engine. It's a car. It seems to have pulled up. And it's at this point you look for headlights, which just go out as soon as you are, well, as soon as you look, they turn off. Looks like whoever's driving just ended up pulling out to the front.
Okay. Okay. I am going into a closet, and I'm Cloak of Shadows.
Alright.
Keeping my ears open, listening for everything.
Okay. It doesn't take much before you end up looking about. Now, you said you're using Cloak of Shadows, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm
And
going
I've put myself in a closet. I'm not seeing anything. I'm just listening.
Alright. We're gonna call for a roll. It's gonna be tough. Alright. I'm going to end up starting with a roll. And we'll save that roll for now. You get into the closet. It's dark. It's blocking out most of the light as you hear very light footsteps. Door opens. No keys, just the door opens. And it's at this point you hear somebody walking through. They seem to be with a trash bag. Yeah, that's what that sounds like. Rustling. Something's being stuffed in it. Goes through. And then you hear drawers opening, closing, opening, closing. It's getting closer. You hear fabric being lifted. Might be the bed. It's dropped. And you hear the opening of something else. Yeah, that's another drawer. Opening of I think that's the sock drawer that's right beside. This person's like 2 or 3 feet away from you. Has been quickly opening and closing, going through everything.
I'm just against the wall.
Okay. Alright. I'm going to need you to roll me opposed obfuscate. And this is going to be tough.
I bet.
You're up against an expert. Not a bestial failure, at least. Yeah. It's at this point, Mouse, you find yourself and you are looking at a man who's just kind of standing over you. He's old. He's an older gentleman, probably pushing maybe 65, 70. He's dressed in a business suit as he's going through and quickly pulls aside some bits, just shuffles some clothes. Doesn't seem to be wearing gloves. And then stops. And through the glasses he looks down. He's looking down at you. Well, apologies, young one, but you just complicated some matters for me.
Do I get the sense that he can see me?
He's looking dead at you.
Oh,
and
shit.
What's probably worse is that he doesn't seem particularly fazed by the way you look.
Okay. Cool.
Is that how Mouse is responding, or that's just you kind of figuring this out?
Mouse is a little dumbfounded and probably would say that exact same thing, yes.
He leans in at you. Good evening. Might I ask your name?
I'm Mouse.
Mouse. Fitzgerald Projects, yes?
Yeah.
Jamal.
I want to sense the beast. Just because that's what Mouse would do.
That's perfectly fine. He's an old man.
That's actually a bestial failure.
Ooh, is it? Oh god, it is. It's double bestial failure if it was such a thing. Okay. Alright. I'm gonna need you to roll me a d10.
Okay.
Let's take a look what kind of compulsion we are dealing with.
Yep.
Oh god, yeah. 6. Uh-oh. That is harm.
Uh-oh.
Things turn ugly. The hunger compels the vampire to hurt and destroy, not to feed or to win, but for the sole sake of causing harm, reveling in pain of others. This compulsion often, but not always, means physical harm. It can involve the subject type of damage, such as social or emotional. The vampire performs all actions not immediately resulting in someone or something being harmed at a 2 dice penalty. This compulsion ends when the vampire incapacitates, destroys, drives away a target. If the vampire turns on an object, it must hold serious value to someone the vampire ordinarily values, such as themselves. Mouse, you don't like the idea of this old man being able to see you.
Mm-mm.
You don't like it. Who is he to suddenly bust in on something that doesn't have any business of his? Fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
You can't help think that old neck, sometimes, old people need wheelchairs, and sometimes they're a little tricky around stairs.
Mm-hmm. What of it?
This is confirmation, young man. Yes or no? You are Jamal, also known as Mouse, yes?
I prefer mouse.
Very well then, Mr. Mouse. You seem to be in a little bit over your head right now. He kind of looks over his shoulder for a brief moment as he looks at the body swaying. And looks back to you. I assume you have some business here, and it cannot have waited. My time was not that inconsistent. You either were here the entire time, or you just arrived. Yes?
I just arrived.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mouse. You just arrived. What did you see?
Not a lot. I was walking down the alleyway, and I saw that guy looking really tall, and then the lights went out. That's it. Came to investigate, see what was going on. Then I heard your car pull up.
Mm-hmm. So, at this point, you have no idea as to what ended up happening to the window.
That might have been an accident.
Very well. Don't have enough time for this. Very well then.
You asked me my name. What's your name?
Only polite of me to end up offering it. My name is Sheriff Walter Clays.
Do I know what sheriff as a title means?
Roll me, there's a likelihood you might have actually run into it, or it might have been mentioned once. Give me a intelligence occult, and any bonuses to Camarilla.
Don't have any bonuses to Camarilla.
Yeah, it's not. It's a fairly. You're pretty sure. Usually, sheriff is. Well, from what you end up understanding, that is the equivalent of the big bad bully on the playground. That's how Gutter would
police
describe
officer. It. Mm-hmm. Okay. Pleasure to meet you, Sheriff.
Mr. Mouse, would you be able to accompany me for the evening? We have some questions, and I do not think we want to be involved in a crime scene.
It's getting kind of late, isn't it?
It is. So, that ends up leaving a very interesting order. The more that this delays, the more I'm going to have to delay, and the more that ends up happening, the sooner we can finish this up, the sooner that you can leave. I would hate to keep you up past sunrise. You can take a mouse, come on.
I've got places to be tonight.
Unfortunately, that's no longer an option for you. Please. He takes a step back, allowing you
What
to
do you
step
mean
out
no
of the
longer
car.
an option? I can go wherever I want.
If that's what you believe.
That is what I believe.
Are you wanting to test that?
Not right this second.
Fantastic. Please, accompany me. He takes a step to the side and gestures.
Should I mask myself or something?
The car's not far. Maybe you're just a troubled kid I gotta take home.
Fine.
Just keep your hood up. It's not uncommon, especially in this sort of neighborhood.
This whole city, really?
Perspective, I suppose. He starts to walk towards.
And as I'm walking by the car, I'm taking a mental note of his license plate number.
It's definitely a rental. But you can definitely do so.
Okay.
And as he gets in the car, and he's actually polite enough to end up going and opening up the passenger side door for you.
And I sit down in the seat.
Alright. He seats himself in the driver's seat. He starts up the car. Starts to drive. And as he does so, he takes before he can drives, he pulls out a pack of cigarettes, and he's very careful with the lighter from the car to light it. He doesn't inhale off of it, he just drops it out the window onto some drive curb and starts to drive away.
What was the point of that?
He looks to you for a moment. Communication. Think of it like the way Indians use smoke flares. Just a little bit more subtle. Lets particular people know that I couldn't finish in time. He continues driving. And it takes, a moment. You're free to just say or observe whatever you like during this whole time.
I'm just watching where it is that he's going.
He seems to be heading a little bit further out east. He's outside of Fitzgerald at this point. Thicker into corpse territory, starting to get into deadhead territory.
Okay.
Yeah. It's at that point he pulls up to what seems to be a bar called the Old Miami. It's it's nice, you suppose. For the most part, what you end up seeing is that the place is all turned off. There's no real lights inside. The open sign has been turned off, and you get the impression that it's been done for quite some time. He pulls up, making sure he's at the side entrance before he ends up continuing. He even goes to open the door for you as he hauls out what appears to be a large duffel bag, something he brought in from into the house, and started walking out. Well, what's the old expression, Mouse? Mr. Mouse, mind your P's and Q's.
Just Mouse is fine.
I wouldn't do you the disrespect. Still. It's at this
I
point.
don't know that I'm old enough to be called Mr. anything.
How long have you been around, Mouse?
I'm 17.
When you were killed?
Just about. Yep.
And how long have you been 17?
Almost 4 months.
As of this date.
As of this date. As of about 3 months and 3 weeks. Almost 4 months.
He kind of looks at you. He's almost perplexed. And stops just before the door. And looks to you. Mouse, I think it would be only proper for me to end up informing you at this point there is a investigation going underway.
What kind of investigation?
It has to do with the first rule. And unfortunately, there's only one reason I would know your name. But consider me a stickler for the rules.
As I have heard.
As you've heard. He stops as he was about to knock on the door. Looking at you.
Camarilla thing, isn't it? Make rules and stick to them real bad.
The rules aren't always your enemy, Mouse. And unfortunately, in this city, it's become a constant frustration. But I shouldn't be surprised. You consider yourself one of the Anarchs, is that correct?
Yep.
Very well, then try and end up, for what you understand the term, be respectful.
I'll try.
Fantastic. Then I will try to overlook your tone. He hits the door twice, and you can see a light changes in the peephole for a second before the doors open. And you end up seeing that woman.
Oh, great.
Darling Sheriff Clays, I would... Oh my, it appears he caught a stray. Oh, this woman with the scars leans into you with a twisted smile. And those near lifeless green eyes of hers.
I just watch her.
Well, I suppose then you're gonna do it here, Mr. Clays. Oh, I'm sorry, Sheriff. So hard to get those things straightened when you end up moving to a city. Miss Telly, we have little time to end up here going about with your lack of propriety. Are they here? Not yet, I'm sorry to say. Otherwise, I would end up speeding this along. But did you get that thing done? It's being handled by professionals. No. Sir, all due respect, I asked, did you get it done? My duties is bound. It says I have to leave it in the hands of capable individuals. My priorities, he looks at you, had to shift on the fly. That is the term, yes? Close enough, honey. She opens the door. Well, come on in, come on in. I mean, water's warm and all that.
I go in, kind of keeping my guard up, just looking and seeing if there's, just keeping my eyes open, eyes and ears.
When you step in, there's a mask that seems fairly familiar to you, but not the wearer. It seems painted, and there's a woman who seems to be filing what appears to be like a very thin machete. And then you take a closer look, and there's several of them. They all seem to be attached. Is that a glove?
That's intense.
She looks up, growls a bit. Miss Samantha, I would rather you not end up doing that here. Iron fillings have a habit of wrecking the carpet. You hear metal grind against stone almost for a half stroke before it stops. Those empty eyes behind the mask looking towards the both of you. The head is turning almost like a serpent, tilting to one side and then slithering to the other as it's observing what it's seeing. As you can see, I have brought a guest. Mr. Mouse will be here treated with the utmost respect while in this little domicile. It's not our decision, after all. Honey, please. What difference does it make if it's 1 or 100? Really, what difference is it gonna make? Miss Telly ends up looking to you. I mean, do you even know what you're seeing right now, little lick?
What am I seeing right now? Aside from Samantha filing a machete and attaching them to a glove.
She's doing that while sitting in what appears to be one of the several booths, and this place is more of a dive bar. You can end up seeing that the lights are low. Old wood, polished but dented. You can see the stains of many nights out here. You can see that Veronica Telly is currently, well, she's sitting at the end of the bar. Though she's trying to end up keeping herself upright, legs crossed, hands in her lap in a prim and proper ladylike fashion. She's got that smirk, or maybe it's just the scars. Mr. Clays seems to be close to the door, almost expectantly. You can see that the place looks closed down. Not that it hasn't been in operation, just
It's closed for today.
Closed for the evening. You might have another 3-4 hours.
What I see here are 3 people who are way overdressed for the occasion, at least for this place.
Honey, you always need to dress to impress, and I mean, you're one to talk, given what you're currently wearing. Asylum. So gaudy. Tell him, is he even old enough to drink? To which Sheriff Clays just simply says, no, in a very dead tone manner, looking at her. Well, we're gonna kill him too? Because, I don't know, Samantha looks mighty grouchy, and I would just love to end up seeing dinner and a show right now. I did not end up bringing him here to end up being your particular amusement, Miss Telly. I brought him here because I would like to end up having a local's opinion of the circumstance.
A local's opinion of the circumstance?
He kind of looks to you. Not really full attention. Yes. Because right now, we have a whole mess to end up fixing, and I would prefer to end up doing it quickly and efficiently. And given the histories, I'd rather not end up making it an open thing, and this is how it always begins. Oh, now you're just playing with your food, Mr. Clays. I'm sorry, Sheriff. He seems to be a little bit irked at Miss Telly.
Do I get the impression that she has no respect for him?
Roll me an insight. Wits would probably be the best application, but I would also accept charisma, just on the basis of this is more of how they're socially standing.
Yeah, wits it is. And then I have my +1 for kindred.
It initially seems like disrespect, but there's something more to it. Like there's something about the situation, something about the title that's going on.
Interesting.
It's at this point there's a moment of silence before Samantha Haig gets up. And she starts to fold these long knives against what appears to be a wood backing. glove that serves almost as the hinge. She looks at it. You can see that her arms, she's covered almost head to toe, save for her hair and
Hmm.
her arms. Her arms up to the elbow seem bare. Nothing of note. Except, perhaps to you, just to dissuade a particular thought, her arms seem completely human. Being Nosferatu, you would assume hide your face Nosferatu, but what you're seeing here is not somebody who's hiding their face, or at least not for the same reasons.
Okay. Okay.
Well, if that's the case, let's just get on with it then. What'd you say this kid's name was? Mr. Mouse. Fantastic. Mr. Mouse. You young. What do you think's been going on past couple of nights? I'm kind of curious myself.
Sorry, who's speaking to me? Samantha or Veronica?
Veronica. Samantha
Okay.
hasn't said a word yet.
Okay. Well, past couple of nights. There's quite a lot going on.
Oh, and just because I just caught this, remember you're still at a 2 dice penalty until you hurt somebody.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That compulsion still is in effect.
Huh. Well, what seems to be going on here, in general, is we get notice that your prince was coming to town.
She leans in on her hand, just listening to every word you have to say.
And, you know, we kind of expected others too. But we were under the assumption that it was going to be a visit.
We being?
Where have I been? Is that what she said?
We being. Who is we, darling?
We, Anarchs of Detroit.
You thought this would be a quick little visit. Okay.
And now you're here.
Yes, we are.
Seeming like you want to set up shop.
Something like that. Honestly, I don't particularly care for this little hole in the ground, but we make do with what we got. Same as you, I assume.
So that's got me wondering. Why'd you leave Winnipeg?
Oh, well, it's gonna get colder up there. Thought of this would be a fantastic place for a summer home.
Not that much warmer,
No,
to
not
be
really.
fair.
Not really, but at least here
You'd
you don't.
probably have a better idea of getting someplace, I don't know, like San Antonio, Texas.
Afraid too sunny. But
Hmm.
I do have to wonder then. You said you wanted to know what we're doing here. Well, I could tell you, but then
Hmm.
it really isn't any of your business in that regard, I suppose.
That's fair. Just telling you that's what has got me curious.
It's at that point Sheriff Clays looks you up and down. Mr. Mouse, pardon, Mouse. You
Hmm.
ended up saying that you have a particular, well, thought on who we are. My
Mm-hmm.
worry is, as someone as young as you might have absolutely no real understanding as to what it is that you are in amongst, or what we're actually about.
That's true. I don't know any of you personally.
Mhm.
Not heard of, since maybe I'm because I'm young. Any of you personally? I'm not from Winnipeg, so that makes sense.
No. Honestly, though, I would have suspected I would have ended up running into somebody a little bit older to be following Miss Telly's work. Honey, there was no one there. She looks at you. Slight curl to her lips.
As if she's calling me nobody.
You can choose to interpret it however you want.
Hmm. That's how Mouse is interpreting it right now. Well, seeing as most of you have, I mean, from my experience, I'm not very good at hiding, so if you couldn't see me, that's on you.
I have to admit, he's got a point there, Miss Telly. Though, to be fair, Mouse, you weren't found in the most dignified positions yourself.
I have no problem with that.
I suspect not. Still, different breed, I suppose, in a different city. I'll tell you what, Mouse, at this point, let me express where the law stands.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Okay.
At this point, we end up following 6 traditions. Are you familiar with them?
I'm familiar with the concept of the masquerade and how that should be upheld because it protects all of us, really.
Mhm. That is exactly right. So, allow me to explain my position.
Hmm.
My job is to make sure that everybody upholds their own personal masquerade. That everybody here stays quiet, and the quieter it is, the more we like it. I would like to end up keeping things quiet, Mouse. And
Can't
unfortunately,
say,
go ahead.
can't say that I fault that. I like quiet too.
I'm glad we can find some common ground, even if you're as young as you are. There are particular individuals who concern us greatly in this city.
Hmm.
problematic individuals who, unfortunately, for better or worse, must be expelled. Their presence will only end up make it more noisy, and their presence is going to escalate matters very quickly. I don't think anybody really wants that.
Can't say that I know many people who do.
And yet they exist. I mean,
Accidents happen.
maybe, but not a lot of them have old grudges. And those old grudges are what's going to end up getting us all killed. Not the grudge itself, but the impulsiveness it brings. It's at this point. There's almost a odd quiet when Telly steps up, as though she heard something. Sheriff Clays, it's time. It's at this point, Samantha, without saying a word, just starts walking towards the door. She passes you. You can smell something on her. Rosemary. As she passes you, you can get a better look. Would you roll me, this is going to be difficulty 4 given the environment, but would you be able to roll me a wits plus perception, or pardon, wits plus awareness, and that's going to be -2 because you still haven't acted on the impulse.
Yep. Nada.
Well, we can be glad you didn't end up adding another compulsion.
Right?
Samantha steps out, and Veronica starts to walk towards. Well, Mouse, it was a pleasure running into you, and when they get that little Elysium, she rolls her eyes, up and running, I do hope to see you in court. You just squirm in all the right ways.
Perhaps. We'll see.
Oh. I can almost guarantee it. Though then again, I suppose then it's going to become very, very difficult for it to keep going. Sometimes people just spread themselves too thin. Breaks them. Well, we'll have to see what happens now, won't we?
Like I said, we'll see.
She walks around very much away from you. Like, it's very clear she's giving a wider berth than Samantha ever did. It's at this point Sheriff Clays looks to you. Keep your nose clean, Mouse. One so young as yourself, I don't want to end up seeing justice fall upon, especially out of ignorance. My nights are busy, but if you ever see anything, if you ever hear anything, that might be a threat to us all. I want you to contact me. He pulls out what seems to be just a regular small writing notepad. And he writes down a number and a phrase. Phrase reads, "Fiddler on the Wind."
All right.
At the prompt, say that, and I'll know who I'm looking for. Try and stay above ground. Maybe end up making a quick hint as to where you are without specifying the location. I'm good at finding things. And when you're ready to end up receiving that help, when you have no recourse, know that in the end, this is my job. So long as the rules are abided, which, if you don't know them, speak now. If you do, I expect them to be upheld. No, I don't accept ignorance as an excuse.
We mentioned the masquerade, but I don't know anything else about the rest of the rules.
Well, among the Camarilla, there are particular rules that we all must abide. And, well, sad truth is that they're not abided all too well. There are 6 traditions. Masquerade is the first that you will need to know. Second, probably just as important, is domain. Honor one another within your domain. Camarilla is what dictates domain. As there is no prince to end up doing so, praxis will be held for an appropriate prince, who in their wisdom will end up offering, well, let's just say things are about to become reorganized for the better. Progeny. That the right to embrace is given by the eldest, by the prince. We need to do this for population's sake. One thing I've learned when working in Winnipeg was that there's way too many kindred out there who, once they start feeling like they can embrace anyone, be it for the need to save a life, such as it is, or out of some misguided thought of having a child, or maybe they just end up thinking that this individual would deal with a bit of humility. Yours is particularly known for hate embracing. Imagine it's the same hatred that made Miss Telly who she is.
Can't even imagine.
I'm sure you can. Suffice it to say. And the last one is probably one of the most important in this regard. The right of destruction. See, anarchs have a tendency of a kill or be killed. If someone doesn't like you enough, they can simply remove you. that makes people prone to violence. Violence typically comes with a lot of noise, which we both agree is not wanted. So, there's only one person who can end up declaring the blood hunt. You do know about the blood hunt, yes?
Vaguely.
A name would be cast, and it is every kindred in the domain's responsibility to hunt down that individual. It is not said lightly. Ever. To be on the receiving end of the blood hunt, you must be responsible for acts most foul against kindred or against others who are very, very good at what they do. And I would never want to see something so young to be called upon in that manner. You don't strike me as the killer, Mouse.
Tend to avoid it when I can.
Then I think we'll get along swimmingly. Suffice it to say, I think I have left them waiting long enough.
Didn't you say there were 6 traditions?
He smiles at you. Yes. You end up, wishing to end up going over them all in detail. I will do so. If that's your wish.
You said you've been waiting. Somebody's waiting, though.
Yes. Masquerade.
And,
Domain. Progeny. Hospitality. Destruction. The one I did not make mention is accounting. This is probably the one that I'm finding the most problems with in this city. Who you create, what you create, is your own. Until it's released, their sins are yours.
released in what way?
Let me put it to you this way. You're a... shuffles for the word. Teenager. If I were to plop a baby in your arms right now, what would happen?
I probably would... never thought about having kids.
And yet, you would be stuck with one. Now, what happens if that baby, still not even aware of itself, follows the world, was also capable of making another, and then another, and then another? Babies have this tendency to cry. They have the tendency to make a mess, and they tend to make a lot of noise. Responsible parents help uplift them, help them get out of the teething and the awkward phase, pimples and all that fun stuff. And when they are ready, they are released when their sire believes they have earned that right. Because once released, it's a big moment. So when I look at you, Mouse, I see something that has been cruelly and unjustly placed upon you. Unless your sire is standing in the room right now, though I don't seem to see him or her.
He takes good care of me.
If he did, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you, would I? That's my point, Mouse. Just too many kindred. Too many running around. Too many not understanding their place or purpose. Just stumbling and making a mess the whole way. And unfortunately, sometimes it needs a guiding hand. He steps back. Have a good evening, Mouse. I trust the next time we meet, well, I hope to see you in something more suitable to one so young.
What's wrong with what I'm wearing?
He looks you over, like you don't know. It is beneath you. In time.
This is my style, man.
No. It's a style of an era. Unless you are to tell me that you are owned wholly by Asylum.
I was more along the lines meaning the hoodie and jeans part.
I know. And he exits out. As he leaves, please, be kind enough to lock the door on your way out.
Okay.
See you soon, Mr. Mouse. And it's at that point you're left in this old, dingy dive bar, alone. Still not 100% sure as to what the was just happened.
Mm-hmm.
But you do know that you need to feed.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to get home. You need to get out of here.
Mm-hmm. Is there a working clock near me to figure out how much time I have?
Yeah, you take a look around and you can see that you got about, maybe 2 hours. You could feed, but it would be cutting it close.
Yeah. I do need something to eat. So, go back to... Is Fitzgerald on my way back to my haven?
Yeah, potentially. You might need to make a detour.
Okay.
But
Did he say that somebody was waiting here for me, or no?
no, he didn't.
Okay. Very confused. If they're
More
not
accurately,
here...
they were waiting for someone. Telly ended up suggesting that that person was here.
Okay.
And
Alright, so then I am going to... If there's nobody here that I can see or has made themselves aware to me, then I'm gonna leave.
Do you lock the door behind you?
Yes.
Okay. As you're locking the door, you hear something crash. Something fell over. And you smell blood.
Oh. Oh no. Like a window crash or a
Like
dishes crash
more of
or
a like dumpster, yeah, like a garbage can got tipped over kind of crash. Aluminium, I should say, for those linguists out there.
I don't like that.
And you smell.
Also, I think I may have miscalculated my hunger. I'm at hunger 3 on my sheet. I don't know if I'm doing that wrong or if I'm wrong or not.
If you're hunger 3, you've been rolling the right dice.
Cool. I want to go see what happened.
Okay.
But I'm staying covered. I'm walking by nonchalantly, but I'm keeping my eyes out.
Okay. You see a woman. She's dressed in flannel. She seems a little panicked. She's looking around, and as soon as she ends up looking at you, she covers her mouth. You can smell blood. Roll me a wits awareness.
Okie dokie. That's still at -2. Nope, I'm having none of this right now.
She looks to you in that mask as she kind of starts tipping away. Like she's scared. She should be. And yet you smell that copper on the wind. It smells so rich.
If she's okay, and she doesn't look like she's being attacked by anyone, then I am leaving.
Yeah. She's covering the lower part of her face, like looking at you. So pitiful. So small. She starts to step forward hesitantly. Hello? Hello? She doesn't remove her hand from her mouth.
Without turning towards her, I just say, "Are you okay?"
I need a phone. I need a phone to call somebody.
I don't have one. Find a payphone. And I take out whatever change is in my pocket, and I just throw it towards her.
Almost on instinct, she reaches out with both hands and clasps it, and as soon as she does so, the first thing you see is that she has two very long fangs in her mouth. And you can see that her mouth seems to be partially gnawed up.
I want to sense the beast just to make
And
sure.
immediately places her hand over her face.
I'm still sensing the beast. It's probably not gonna work, but okay.
Yes, most certainly. What you are seeing here is kindred.
Who are you calling?
I, I, I don't know. I just need to find some place. I need to get a need a place. I need to cab. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
What happened?
Just you're not freaking out. Why aren't you freaking out?
Just tell me what happened.
She's lowering her hands a little bit, like she wants to be able to reach up and grab her face at a moment's notice when she looks at you. There was a woman, a man, I think they were. Was in the trunk. I just got out. I had to get out. I don't think they saw me, but I landed hard on my face. I started to run. I think I slipped by them.
Okay.
I don't know where I am. Where is this? Where is this place? She starts looking around like she's looking for signs.
Where are you trying to go?
I don't know.
Are you from here? Are you from Detroit?
I'm in Detroit.
Yeah.
How long was I in there? Oh God. Who the fuck am I supposed to call now? You're not freaking out with these. Does that mean you're one of... She gestures with her hands back and forth like she doesn't know if she should be saying something at this point, or...
I just kind of go deeper into an alley. And if she follows me, she follows me.
Hey, don't... She starts chasing after. Like, you're the closest thing that she can speak to for help, whatever the fuck she is.
And I, without saying anything more, just kind of get us to some place where they were secluded for a moment. I'm in a similar state.
What do you mean similar state? You mean
As in,
you're...
it's the same but different.
Where do I go? Where can I go? Is there a place? Is there anything we can do? God, what time is it? It feels like it's gonna be dawn soon. Is it gonna be dawn soon?
It's gonna be dawn soon.
Fuck.
Do I know of anyone in the area that I could take her to?
In this neck of the woods? Corpse. Yeah, you don't have any real contacts on a first name basis with a lot of them.
No.
Deadhead's less likely. I mean, you could try and take them to Eakin, but that might be a little ways. Could try the Fitzgerald. At the very least, you have a place that's there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe stuff with Thin Bloods. Maybe you want to take her home. Don't.
I'm not taking her to my place.
Well, you got very little time.
I might be able to find you a place to lay low.
What's... I'm Ellie.
Just call me Mouse.
Okay, Mouse. Thank you. You notice that her fangs have not left since she started speaking.
And I understand that many people who look human can retract them, yes?
You've, unless feeding or otherwise showing, I mean, even you have some movement with your fangs,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even when it would serve no purpose for you to hide them, you can still do so.
Okay. So I just point that out to her. Try to get him to go away.
What do you mean go? She's like purposely forcing against her own fangs. What do you mean go away?
I don't know. Sometimes when they're too long and kind of in the way, you just think about it real hard and they go away.
I've never made them go away. Ever.
Try to make them go away.
And you can see like she's doing this awkward bit where she's like flexing her jaw and trying to play around muscles, whatever. And she's trying really hard, but they're not going away.
That's weird. I don't think I've ever encountered that before. Okay. How good are you at kind of... Do you find it difficult for people not to just look at you?
I usually wear a sick mask.
Okay. I don't have one of those. Just kind of don't really say anything where your mouth just goes wide, if that makes sense. Just kind of whisper or whatever.
She's trying to force her bottom lip over them. It's very clear that her fangs naturally sit over her bottom lip as opposed to under. It's a little different, but you can definitely see it. She tries to extend her lower jaw out as far as it'll go. It looks uncomfortable and awkward as all hell, but she can do it.
You don't have a hood on your jacket, do you?
No. I haven't had a change of clothes and God, I don't even know what day it is anymore.
Okay. So yeah, I'm going to take you to and go find you a place where you can at least spend the night or the day. It's really weird.
Yeah. Weird has been pretty much the normal for the past while.
Oh yeah. How long have you been like this?
Not long.
Do you even know?
No, not really. I don't even know what day it is.
And I spout off the date. I don't actually know what date it is, but I spout off the date.
A month, maybe 2.
Fair enough. And I start walking her towards Fitzgerald.
And I think that's where we're going to take a quick 5-minute break just to get some refreshments, go to the washroom, all the amenities of human life. So
Mm.
we'll be back in, let's say, 5 to 10. Did he say that in minutes or did he mean years? You find out. Ladies and gentlemen, we have returned. But before we do so, I got a request to slow down the cheat sheets, as it were. So I'm going to see if I can do that real quick for you. And let's do... There we go. Alright. So, let's get into it again, shall we? The Fitzgerald neighborhood, these projects, were once held as the Nightlife's domain. Nightlife being the coterie that Mouse is a part of. Unfortunately, not everything is all smiles and sunshine, or moonlight in this case. The Fitzgerald neighborhood has a few contenders who are arguably squatting, if not outright taking, the domain. Between the coterie known as the Runoff, the Camarilla member known as Pride. Right now, the Fitzgerald neighborhood's allegiances are conflicted. And right now, Moss arrives in the streets that, for his kindred existence, he's called home. Now he brings a stranger. Ellie, woman who seems to have escaped, well, somewhere. She hasn't been particularly forthright with information. Not that she's been hiding so much as she is scattered. Seems to be panicked. She's has these fangs that are not retracting. Mouse tried to coach her through it, but she doesn't seem to be able to. Then again, as Mouse comes into his domain to find a place to stay, find a place to feed, sometimes things can only get messy. Take it away, Mouse.
So, what I'm hoping to do is to find someplace that would be suitable for her to stay for the day, and then come back and maybe see what she's up to, where she needs to go, who she needs to talk to, that kind of a thing when we have a little bit more time.
That's fair, but you're also hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And
This is cutting into dinner time.
it is. High or low?
High.
No random encounter yet. But then again, it's not until you walk by you swear you see something that might be just random scratches, or maybe it's claw marks. You're reminded of the Black Hound of Fitzgerald, who you know of as Raven. She's still out there somewhere.
Want to run into that dog?
No, I suppose not.
Okay, so just looking for a place that she can sleep.
Intelligence streetwise, you can use your lane here.
Okay. And the lane is 2, I believe.
Ooh, wow. Yeah. You end up finding what appears to be a older, yeah, style home. The entire top has been collapsed in. It kind of reminds you of your first little squat here in the Fitzgerald projects. But that's not what catches your eye. What catches your eye is the cellar and how the door seems to be, well, have a bit of debris collapsed upon it. Doesn't look like it's been moved for a while. Doesn't look like anybody could be squatting down there. You're looking around, you double check the windows, the doors. Well, to be fair, the door was removed a long time ago, now placed with a piece of crumbling plywood.
Mm-hmm.
The windows have been smashed in, and you can already see that this house has been gutted for almost everything it's worth, including holes in the gyprock where the wiring was torn out. But as you start to dig out some of the wreckage, some of the garbage that was tossed aside, and Ellie is there to help, she steps aside as you open the doors. You look down, and your suspicions are confirmed. You hadn't seen any windows in the base, and it's pitch dark down there.
Perfect.
And when you turn, you see Allie's eyes are glowing pitch red. She smiles. Yeah, that'll work.
What's the thing with the eyes?
What?
Their eyes are glowing red.
Oh, she covers her bottom part of her face and calms down a bit. It's like adjusting light, you know? It helps with seeing in pitch dark.
That's fair. Just gotta be careful about doing that. Wrong people see it, then things get weird.
She starts to crawl in. You'll come and get me, right?
Yeah, I'll come talk to you first thing tomorrow, because right now I gotta go home.
But I gotta stay here.
Yeah. This is what I could find on short notice. So, I wasn't exactly expecting guests.
Okay.
But you're safe. You'll be safe here. Nobody's touched this place in quite a while. I'll definitely make sure to make it look like that again before leaving.
Thank you, Mouse. She starts to walk down the stairs backwards, and you can see as she steps in, her eyes become red, glowing, so she can continue to see. But what you see are these two deathly red eyes, with just a glimmer off the fangs. This must be what you feel, or the impulse that you tend to give to other people when they see you.
Maybe. I'm not exactly the most pleasant thing to look at, so...
Probably not, but... She creeps
Got a
into
worse
the
case
back.
of the ugly babies. So...
Yeah. So you close the door, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then make everything kind of look like I haven't disturbed it,
Mhm.
just so that
Okay.
it gets overlooked still.
Alright.
And go find something to eat.
Alright. Just because I forgot to call it, that would remove the 4 and the 6, so it still would have been the same. But remember that you are in fact
And still -2. Yep.
-2. All right. Okay. You know what to roll. It's your choice to choose on how you hunt.
Yeah, I'm gonna try finding. I'm gonna try finding a druggie.
All right.
So that's intelligent streetwise.
That is intelligent streetwise. You're thinking of all the local hangouts. You're trying to figure out where the dealers are, where, you know, the spots. It's kind of like when you know that one liquor mart where you don't go there past a certain time because, it's highly likely you'll leave with liquor and then you'll get mugged. They'll steal your wallet and then they'll go back in to buy more liquor. So you paid twice and with a little bit of bruising and blood.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then I get my specialty for drug trade.
That is correct.
And then -2 because I'm under compulsion.
Yeah. Now, you're going for human. Do I understand this correctly?
Yes.
Okay. So there's no penalties. That is going to be, that's going to be difficulty 5.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, shit. That's a messy crit.
That's a messy crit. Okay.
Perfect time to try and get my compulsion out a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, this is a basic feeding scene. You find someone who is, you might guess that they're on heroin. Track marks definitely say something to that effect. And he seems to be a younger guy, buzzed out of his brain at this point. Dressed in layers as the cold nights are starting to get a little colder. But it's as you feed, you feel the roiling coming up. And as you end up doing so, this individual starts to thrash, kicking stuff over, and in order to keep him quiet, you have this sudden surge as you wrap your arms around him and hoist him clean into the air. And this guy's almost twice your size, Mouse, and you're hoisting clean into the air as you end up bringing him down hard in order to end up getting him to stop struggling. You're not sure what's wrong here. And it's only then when you end up saying, or seeing some things are coming down the alley in a rush. They seem to be dressed the same way he is. Maybe this was their dealer, maybe this was a guy who was waiting for a trade, but yeah, you can see them. They can see you for as good as they can see in the dark. And they just saw you body slam someone twice your size.
I've got mask, like, as covered as I can possibly be. Oh, what do I do here? What do I do here?
I will say this, you've had enough time to end up getting 2 points of blood out of him if you want, or you can take the whole thing.
No, I'm not taking the whole thing.
Okay. You got other things to worry about. So.
Yep. What can I gather that they have seen so far? That I have body slammed this guy?
Maybe they've seen you feeding. You're not sure what they see, but they seem to be running towards this individual and you. one guy looks a little bit thin and lanky, taller. The other guy is short, fat, might be getting out of breath right now trying to run towards their buddy.
Okay. Trying to think what would I do? I pull out the knife that I have.
Okay.
And I hold it to the guy's neck, making sure that I'm covered. I'm as unseen as possible. Come any closer and he's dead.
Hey, calm your shit. Look, if you need the shit, we can work this out. All right. Billy, you okay? Jed, I don't know what's. God, he looks sick. Well, yeah, I imagine he does. God, what the fuck is going on here? And you just see them, like, they're all trying to, like, work out what's going on. For, like, almost for a second, they forget you're there. You're pretty sure that they're all tweaking in one way or another. One of them kind of raises his hands. Okay. Buddy, it's okay.
Don't come any closer.
Okay, I'm not moving. Would you be able to roll me a charisma intimidation check?
Oh boy, this is gonna go well.
And, well, I'm going to give you one additional point because you currently have a hostage at this point.
Okay. That's still gonna go well. Nope.
That's not a botch, is it? Okay. Well, almost.
Oh,
Oof.
fuck me.
Okay. Look, kid, you don't want to do this. You really don't want to do this. One of them starts reaching behind him. He's reaching to grab something.
I put the knife down, I reach into my bag, and I pull out the gun that I have. Right. You really don't want to do that, buddy.
Okay. Roll it again. This time I'm going to give you +2.
Okay.
Okay, is that a crit?
Nope.
No. He starts to move both hands back into view slowly. He kind of looks at you, though. He looks kind of pissed off now. This punk is drawing fucking iron on him.
Just back the fuck off. Let me take what I want, and I'll leave.
What the fuck do you want?
Want your shit.
You want my shit?
His shit. Your shit. Everybody's shit. You don't give me your shit, I start popping.
They look to each other. And high or low?
Low. Fuck.
Okay. Okay. One of them starts to slowly move his hand, grabbing hold. He seems to reach into his pocket and pulls out a wallet. He lifts it up high and he tosses it towards you. And as it lands, the other one, who seemed to have been going for his wallet, suddenly starts to draw really fast. He seems to be reaching for a pistol of his own. You do have the action to be able to react at this current point, but he is most certainly going for his gun. What do you do?
I'm not sure if this gun's gonna work, so I'm going to attempt to shoot towards his feet.
Okay. All right. So, I'm gonna need you to roll me. This is gonna be a roll of Dex, Composure plus of firearms.
Okie dokie. Don't have. This is just a straight composure roll.
Okay. Well, you're not taking a penalty, so that is a single success. Let's see what he's got. 1-1. You're the actor, so you succeed. There is a hit. There is going to be aggravated damage, and pistol, I believe, is +2. Okay, so you fire as he's reaching for his gun, and you pull the trigger. And the first thing that you end up noticing is that as soon as it ends up catching the leg, it's almost like a gout of flame shoots out of the back of his calf.
Shit.
The place lights up as he ends up suddenly falling down, and there is splinters of bone and charred meat that he is currently clinging on to. It must have hit right on the bone, because right now his leg is flopping like a loose piece of paper as it's being, like, it's currently charred. You can see that some of the clothing is smoldering as he grabs the other guy, like, puts his hands up, and he steps away like, we're cool, and he's drops a 9mm pistol as he ends up grabbing hold of his knee, like trying to end up holding on. His leg is literally holding by maybe a few bits of tendon.
I told you to give me your fucking shit.
Take it, for fuck's sakes, take it. Fuck.
So I take everything.
Mouse. There is. Feel good about this. Feel really good about this. These fucking punks end up deciding to end up trying to pull on you. Mouse, the guy who runs these streets. What the fuck is wrong with them?
This is my fucking hood.
Goddamn rights it is. And you start going over and grabbing hold of wallets. You hear, keeping the gun drawn. You're looking at the guy who's like, he's pseudo-conscious at this point. He has no idea how much blood he has just lost. As you start to walk past. Is there anything you're doing in particular as you're taking their stuff?
I'm just keeping the gun drawn, pocketing it all, throwing it all in my bag, and as soon as I am out of sight, I am going to make my way out of the street.
Are you going to
Just
take
covered?
I'm assuming you're taking their pistol as well?
Yes, I'm taking their weapons.
Yeah.
Making sure to grab the knife.
Yeah. Okay. It's at this point you leave these individuals in the alley. One of them screaming in agony as his charred, riddled leg is left there hanging. You feel the weight of the iron in your hand. That little piece of Second Inquisition equipment. That's power right there. That's power. You can only imagine what this would do point blank to another kindred. Maybe this thought might make you smile. How many do you think it would take to put Raven down? 2, maybe 3.
Not many. Good to know it works.
Oh, it works. Though it feels a little lighter after losing a round from the chamber. The smell of gunpowder going off, lingering with you. Now, Mouse, I'm gonna double check here for a second. But at this point, I'm looking over. At this point, you haven't killed him that you know of. Though, that was a little above and beyond.
Yep.
So, I'm taking a look at your convictions. You had to take care of yourself first. So the good news is you're only going to take one stain for that as your touchstone, specifically with Beatrice
My mother.
Collins. Mama. Yeah.
She always told me to take care of my own shit. Take care of myself. I don't have anybody else, really.
Not right now. So, that being said,
if I'm done, I'm headed home.
You're headed home. And none too soon. When you get home, it doesn't take long for you to kind of situate yourself. I mean, after all, how hard can it be, right? Mouse, you end up back in the Haven. At this point, Gutter isn't there. Who knows where he's squatting. But the couch is there.
I am gonna sit in the corner of it.
Is there anything else you'd like to do before this night ends?
Just pulling out my sketchbook.
Okay.
Thinking of some things that have been going on lately. Making plans for a tribute to Ari.
What makes you think of Ari at this time?
She's been on my mind a little bit recently. Because seems like everything I do kind of costs something. And having witnessed 2 deaths today and nearly killed somebody myself, what am I doing?
That's a good question. One that I don't think has a simple answer.
Not at all.
So I'm going to give you a choice here, Coffee Cat.
Mm-hmm.
We can end the day right now and call it a session. Or if you want, we can continue. Given the fact that I had to start late, I'm willing to push a little bit later on. If you feel this is the best time to break, by all means. If you feel there's more Mouse would want to do independently, this would be a good time to do it.
He does have plans to talk to Hector. But it seems like figuring out how it works isn't important anymore. Because it works. The only reason I would be contacting him at this point would be to see if he's talked to Raven. But that's probably not the thing that he's thinking about right now. Right now, he's probably thinking more about Sergeant Payne. And how she's doing. What would she say about this? What would she say about anything that he's doing? Probably scold him again. Obviously, she's a person of the law.
Yeah, I can't imagine you being involved in a shootout of any kind would really help.
Nope.
So it's up to you. Do you wish to press on? Or do you want to call it a night?
I think contacting Hector would be what I would want to do next.
Then we're going to resolve all stains and willpower for now. So you're starting up fresh. So, first thing I'm going to need is we're going to roll your stains. Remorse check. Thankfully, only one stain, so should be giving you
3 dice. Yep.
3 dice. Pretty good. Pretty good odds.
Oh. No.
Mouse. You lose another dot in humanity. At this point, no more kid stuff. You can't afford it. Not like this. You can't go to war and keep that kind of conscience. It's better to go cast it aside. You can regain your composure or resolve, equivalent to willpower. You fulfilled your desire, so you can heal an aggravated willpower.
Right.
Okay. And I need you to roll a rouse check for the evening. Mouse, that beast is just relentless right now.
It's been relentless for days.
I can only imagine.
Give me a break at some point, please.
Maybe. You said you wanted to contact Hector.
Yes.
Will you be honoring your promise to Ellie, or are you doing the Hector bit first? You did kind of bury her there.
Yeah. I'll go check in on her and see what her plans are.
Alright. We're gonna move to the Fitzgerald neighborhood. Mouse. You're not even a half hour awake as you're peeling over the last board. You seem to be waking up later than you expect. And it takes a little bit for you to kind of get situated. It's almost like you lost time.
Maybe I hit the snooze button a little too long.
Eventually, you fling open the doors, and there is an individual who's seems to be forcing themselves to get up the stairs. You can see those eyes glowing as they make one step and the next, coming out.
Like she's forcing herself to be awake right now?
Roll me a wits plus occult. That's one potential. There might be other explanations, but that's another way of interpreting it.
Because I've never forced myself to be awake for the most part, have I?
No, but then again, you've never had to.
Yeah. Did you sleep okay?
I'm better. She steps out, twists her neck as though she's trying to crack it. Doesn't crack, but
It's not the most ideal sleeping.
yeah, she looks at you with her fangs out. Thank you, Mouse.
No problem. So, I'm curious.
I bet.
How did you end up here?
Well, a little monster buried me in there. She smiles awkwardly.
I meant in Detroit.
In the trunk of a car, I think.
Did you know who they were? Or did somebody randomly snag you?
Yeah, I know who they are. Think.
I'd be interested in that.
They call themselves a tower.
Okay.
Said that they were moving shop.
And they just picked you up from where?
I was in a truck with my dad. He drives across provinces, and they apparently needed the truck, and they took him, and they took me, and they did something.
What? Do you remember?
She looks at you. It was cold. They were growling, ripping him to pieces. I still remember when his intestines hit the ground. He was trying to pull them back in, like as if it would just work out. When they fell on me, there was laughing. That's when a officer came.
Officer.
Yeah. They came in, and I guess he took pity on me as he started going after them. And he was so angry. So was I. I was so hungry. It's kind of a blur. You ever have one of those moments that just go on forever, and yet you can't quite picture it? Like you should be able to just remember every detail.
But your mind blanks it out.
Yeah.
I think there's a whole couple of weeks, maybe a month of my life for that. I don't remember.
I'm sorry to hear that, Mouse. I really am. She steps up to you, looks at you, and her hand starts reaching a little bit upwards, like it's trying to reach towards your face.
You don't want to look at my face.
I guess that's fair. If that's what you want, I will honor that. Still,
It's just hideous.
can't be that bad.
It's pretty bad. You ever think about what it would be like for flesh to go through a cheese grater?
She needs a moment, like she's visualizing it.
It's like that.
Okay.
So,
is there a way to fix that?
Not so far as I know. But I don't know that much, so at least not about that regard.
Okay. Are you okay?
The ones... Yeah, I'm good. The ones that attacked the truck and the officer who saved you, what did they look like?
Savages. They were wearing pelts and brow outstretched. They were like feral beasts. They descended upon us. And I still remember those eyes. It's always the eyes I remember. But I remember also them being cut down. That was pretty pathetic when it was licking up blood out of the dirt.
We all get desperate sometimes. I want to insight check her.
by all means.
I want to determine if she's lying.
Okay. That a crit? No. Something is definitely off. Something is definitely off. It has to do with the way she speaks. Almost like she's speaking two languages at all times. There is... there is one thing that stands out. Let me double check this, but... sorry, there's a particular reason I gotta do it this way. Or cults. Any specialties? Let's see what else. Is that part is obvious, but... let's see how bad it is. Yeah. She's not lying as to what happened. If anything, it's cherry-pick sincerity. It's kind of the same thing you're doing. You're both really guarded.
Makes sense. But I am picking up that something's off, like the way that she speaks is weird.
Yes. It's those moments of panic, empathy, and something in that 1,000-yard stare. Not that you get the impression it's not that she's reliving it, the reason for the 1,000-yard stare. More, she's reaching. She's reaching to grab hold of something. Like, needs to find it.
Like the memory's not there for some reason.
It's like trying to remember the last time Mouse ate ice cream.
It's pretty vague. You know it's there. At some point, you just can't remember the details. Okay. This happens. Okay. Where did you say you're from?
Oh, I'm, Montreal.
Montreal.
Yeah.
Geographically, would I know where that is?
Yeah, it's not too far. You're basically going... if you ended up going north and then a little ways east, then Montreal is capital of Quebec, so definitely still Canadian.
Okay. Okay.
I lost my accent. My father's accent was very strong.
I kind of want to inset check that too.
Okay.
I'm very, very curious.
Technically true, yes. And I just got called out chat. Shouldn't be acknowledging the chat's existence right now. Does that show how off of a day I've been having?
Yeah. Oh, that's a messy crit. On an insight check.
Okay. That's fine. Let's see here. Okay.
That's 7 successes.
Messy crit. You feel like you need to... there's an inkling. Like you need to prove... no, this isn't adding up. This isn't adding up. And you get the feeling you're being played. There's some of this adds up, some of it doesn't. And it's at that point you want to see it. So the beast kind of takes hold. You need to do something. So you kind of immediately rush up to her, inches away from her face as you slide the mask off, just look her dead in the eye, like, what's up? And as you end up doing so, you get right in her face, and you would suspect that she would just scream, or, at least rattle. Instead, she is completely stone-faced, looking at you.
A newbie would have flinched.
She smiles a bit. I don't think lying has been good in my particular, at least, I don't believe lying is my specialty anyway. But there's
neither is mine.
But there's only one way to get better at it.
To try, right?
She nods. What gave me
Who
away?
are you? I had a hunch.
Good instincts. I like that. Her fangs retract back into her mouth.
I rarely act on my instincts, but I do have them.
Who am I? Ellie's good enough for now.
Okay.
I don't think you were born with the name Mouse, right?
Mouse will do for now.
So we understand each other.
To an extent.
I think more than we care to let on. She kind of ends up taking that girl next door pose with her hands behind, kind of swaying a bit as she kind of kicks a rock. And that rock goes a little bit further than you would initially expect with what was effectively a flick of a toe. It's still skittering down the street. Sorry about that. I wanted to know firsthand who I was dealing with.
I can understand that.
And for as good as they are, Clays can be a little stiff. And Telly doesn't know when to shut up.
So you do know them?
I've known them for quite a while.
Another hunch confirmed.
I didn't lie when I said that an officer saved me. It's just neglected to end up saying what precinct they worked for.
That's why they use the title sheriff, right?
Yeah.
Make it sound official.
It is official.
Okay.
But you don't seem to think so.
Well, I don't know Clay's. I certainly don't know your crew.
Crew. Yeah, I guess that's the way to put it. It's a crew. She kind of walks up to one of the broken windowsills, kind of clears the glass off and hops up onto it. Quick switch, sits on it. And it's one of those bigger windowsills, and she kind of extends a hand.
As in she's beckoning me to sit next to her?
Yeah. Or just offering you a lift.
I climb up on the windowsill.
Yeah. She can't be much older than maybe 15, 16. It's very weird to have somebody at your age.
But as Gutter said, appearances mean nothing.
Well, I can understand the appeal of it, though. To be free. That's the point, right? That's the big thing with your crew, right?
It's my big thing. Freedom to pursue my own interests.
And what are those?
Without any overhead.
Without any overhead. She kind of looks to you confused.
Yeah. I like being able to do what I want, when it suits me.
Is that really more important than Masquerade?
Don't get me wrong, I understand the importance of quiet.
Understanding the importance of thing and actually making it the important thing are two very different things, Mouse. All honesty, I wish I could just be on this windowsill all night with you. I really do.
Sure, you got other things you got going on tonight?
Every night.
Busy kid. Just like me.
Yeah. Just like you. But I'm trying to understand it.
Okay.
What breaks first? What is actually more important to Mouse? Freedom or Masquerade? You can't have both. Trust me, I've tried.
You've tried?
Yeah, I've tried.
Hmm.
And it always leads to the same thing. I don't know if you'd believe me, though.
Try me.
Freedom to run free also means the freedom to kill. It means you say the wrong thing to somebody and they can take your life. Such as it is. And the only thing that's keeping you alive at that point is who will kill them because you were killed. That's it. That's as far as it goes. It's... what's the term? Americans use the term Mexican standoff, yes?
I don't know that I've ever used that term, but
But is that the term?
I would imagine. Where it's a standstill. You don't make a move on somebody because they're gonna make a move on you.
But that's not freedom, is it? It's just a different cage. the more... What do you call our type?
What, the Camarilla?
I don't think you qualify as Camarilla. But, I mean, Kindred.
Kindred.
Knights. Okay, so they still call them Kindred down here. Okay. What would you do? I mean, really. We have a choice here, Mouse. It doesn't have to be hard, but it starts with taking personal responsibility. It ends with sunrise every time.
I'm not entirely sure I'm not understanding what she's playing at. Or that I understood what she said.
So you're kind of looking at her confused?
I'm a little confused, yeah.
She takes a moment to read it. We kill. That's what we do. We can try not to, but I don't know if you've been long enough to see how that turns out. But I haven't met a kindred that is more than 5 years old that hasn't killed somebody. Every time a fledgling, a kid, is made, it guarantees at least 2 people are going to die. And it doesn't stop there, does it? I mean, read the newspaper and you'll see more people getting shot every day. And how often does that always start with one person leaning on another? And it's worse with us because we either kill each other outright or we make other people do our killing. Because somebody exercised their freedom just a little bit too much. Because their freedom was more important than everyone else around them.
But how is it fair that one person gets to dictate life and death?
It's not. But we're not talking fair now, are we? Fair never came into the equation. Fair never came into it when you revealed a little secret. Somebody's in the wrong place, wrong time, ends up in a Tupperware container. Because that's how important the secret is, Mouse. And if anyone ever threatened that existence by letting other people know, letting the kind know, I want you to know I'm thinking of you. Not saying it's your fault, but I'll be thinking of you. Because I think Mouse has the right to survive this, despite other people's mistakes.
That's Anarch philosophy, to include fair in the equation.
Where do you draw the line? Because the Anarchs were never fair. Because it was never about fair. It might have started with that. I'd like to think it started with that.
That's where I come from. As I want what's fair.
Then how do we make this city a little bit more fair, Mouse? Help me understand it.
I'm not going to lie and say that I hate the idea of rules. I understand the necessity. I understand the desire to maintain some kind of order in an otherwise chaotic world. The humans do it. They set up traffic laws. They set up punishments for wrongdoings against another person and have varying degrees on what that punishment is. But nobody deserves death for a mistake.
Act upon the throne, and it will act upon you. He said that a long time ago. I understand you have some business, some conflict with a dear friend of mine. I'm assuming you're smart enough to know who I'm talking about.
I might have an idea.
He's a really good teacher. If you want, I can try and smooth things out.
I'm not sure if we're talking about the same friend.
Big guy, bushy beard, tattoos.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I've met him.
Yeah. He said you were a good kid. Naive. Sloppy. But a good kid.
I don't know. At some point, we might have another conversation. Right now, I don't have anything to ask.
She hops off the windowsill. How about we exchange one really important bit, then? It's a game he taught me.
Mm-hmm.
You get as good of an answer as you get.
I think I'm familiar with it.
He taught it to me. It's a good game. Childish, but I think it works better than liars, like people who are not good at lying. And you're a big fan of fair.
I am.
So what's your name, Mouse?
My real name?
This might be a very important question to answer.
He's already asked that one.
But I'm asking.
Do I get your real name?
Yes.
I think I have a hunch.
She smiles.
I used to be called Jamal.
She listens. And you prefer to be called Mouse.
That's it. Just Mouse.
Well, Mouse. I guess you get as good, give as good as you get. Sarah.
Pleasure to meet you, Sarah.
Mouse, would you be able to roll me a intelligence politics +2?
Because I've heard that name, Sarah, before.
You have. That's enough. She smiles at you.
That confirms my hunch.
I hope to see you soon, Mouse. It was nice for a night to forget. I will remember it with fondness, even if it was only a little girl playing pretend.
Have a good night.
Her smile fades. It's almost like a brief sadness before her face goes stone. She starts to walk off into the night.
Is that like she's upset that she has to get to her regular business at this point?
Roll me an insight. She's not very good at lying.
Does it almost look like the same kind of cold face that I've seen on Gutter?
How do you mean in that regard?
Like, in that kind of distant, not really present kind of way.
That might be one way to read it. She's a cold fish right now. Maybe the smile was genuine. As this Ellie, Susan Dufresne, walks into the night of Fitzgerald. Two youths forever trapped in time. And one can hope left a little wiser and a little wisdom towards one another. If Mouse views this as something more underhanded, maybe it's a brilliant play. Or maybe, for one night, he let something ancient leave its gilded cage. We'll have to find out next week, as this is where we're going to close. So, that being said, Mouse, Coffee Cat,
Yes.
we're going to end up ending it there. And I don't change my XP for anybody, and congrats. So I have this sneaking suspicion. So one, we give an experience for everybody present. Congratulations. One for the best. One for who pushed the plot the furthest.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have an idea. Okay. One for best scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Spectre Deflector, yeah. Mouse and Dufresne window scene. I vote for the one-legged man.
Oh no! Oh, I feel so bad.
Yeah, you crippled a man.
I crippled a man.
For trying to defend his friend.
I told him I'd pop him.
Yep, you told him. Right?
I told him.
And then there's the one-liner, which you just ended up doing, so you literally just ended up shooting a man. So...
Pop, motherfucker.
Yeah, except you're using explosive incendiary rounds that the Second Inquisition has been using to hunt every single kindred in this city, and you used it on a homeless guy and blew his freaking leg off, almost quite literally.
Woof.
Like he caught it's like he caught a 50 cal in the thigh.
Ooh, yikes. Ouch.
So that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, and dick move, Mouse. Dick move. Yeah. But there's always the last XP, which usually comes to an
if the
audience
vote.
All right. But given the fact that there's very few, I have to watch the parts I just missed. Just to hear that. So, yeah, congratulations. You got a huge experience boost for this little solo venture.
Hi, my name's Coffee Cat. I like experience. But yeah, this is so interesting. So interesting.
So, what's your thoughts on Dufresne?
My thoughts on Dufresne is it's interesting that she's maybe, quote, attempted kind of anarch philosophy at some point.
Well, she's older than she looks.
It's true. And so, yeah, it's definitely interesting. Yeah, I have to really think harder, I think, about Mouse's true reasons for being anarch. Because right now I grew up and I was raised that way.
Yeah.
But he kind of has to do a little bit more philosophy digging to really get at the meat of the issue. And right now, it's about justice and fairness.
And yet, arguably, that's the exact same philosophy Dufresne fights for. The difference primarily, yeah.
being locking down all the kindred, making sure they're being.
Well, you got to think about it,
reduced.
right?
Yeah.
She legitimately looks at everything and go, this isn't. Every time you make a decision that goes against, you have just okayed somebody to die. Someone's going to make a mistake. The fewer kindred in there, the fewer mistakes that are going to happen.
It's true.
The fewer people need to die. To make a kindred, you need to kill somebody. There's no way of getting around it.
Yep.
You're going to kill somebody. And she has made a city where, guess what? That is completely legit. Yeah. Corrupted Fool making a point. He has seen Dufresne mince someone with a car engine for using the term princess. But yeah.
Yep. Mouse had hunches, and they played out.
But I hope that gives Mouse a chance to reflect. Because it's very easy to paint bad guys.
Yeah.
It's very easy for Anarchs to paint, or for Camarilla to paint Anarchs as the bad guys, and that would work. But in these private moments,
they're just people trying to survive, just like us. They just do it differently.
So who has the right? For most kindred, I imagine the battle is more political. They scrape. And for any other kindred, I think the battle would be a political one. For Mouse and Dufresne, it's more of a spiritual one.
I can see that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I have not eaten today, and we were running really late.
Eat food.
Laurie, I don't think it's not so much Dufresne is naive, and the only reason I see that is because Dufresne is more of a trying to understand where Mouse is coming from. It would be nice to end up doing all these. These are nice ideas by all means, but she also knows what happens when you put them into practice. You can't maintain princedom for 55 years and not learn something about power. And it's something else to end up saying when, as she stated, if you remember the episode with Pride, Pride is one of her teachers. Which would be a very interesting link for Mouse to know. Not commonly known. She's willing to hand you that little nugget. Because it might be important to your relations as far as the Fitzgerald neighborhood. You were told to eat, sir. You are not doing the dead thing. Become cat food. God, I love that.
You're not allowed to become cat food.
Yeah. I did manage to end up snagging a double club, so.
Nice. But yes, I have 6 experience, and I'm not entirely sure what I want to spend them on just yet.
Well,
at some point I need to check in with the runoff and see what they're up to.
Well, maybe we'll have to end up doing that. There was a small part of me that was really hoping that you would end up dragging Prince Dufresne right to the runoff. Or if you end up deciding I'm going to go tackle Pride or Hector, I'm like, oh god, this can go in a whole bunch of different ways. Yeah, Black Wolf, learn to lie efficiently. Yeah. But
he's a terrible liar.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's a very interesting aspect of Dufresne as a character. She's a
Yeah.
terrible liar.
Yep.
But that also means I've been calling for checks and what have you, so a lot of what she said is actually true, or true in a view.
Mm.
Yeah. To be fair, Laurie, I kind of needed her to be a little easier to spot. It plays on to the whole thing. But I want to end up getting Mouse used to this. And Coffee Cat to start. Oh! Oh, that's what's. Oh! Because there's.
Hunches. Because hunches.
Yeah. But the other thing is the one thing you don't want to do is play so smart that everything is untouchable. Right? It could be very easy for me to just give Dufresne all the right actions, never call for a check or anything like that, and just completely play it subdued. But we don't get character development in there. We don't get real plot development.
Right.
The best...
You play a little too close to the chest and things don't move.
Yeah. Yeah. So, because this is an introduction to Dufresne, it deals with somebody who tells us a few traits. One obvious weakness is terrible liar. So when you're dealing with Dufresne, it's very rare she's going to lie to you. She doesn't play to her weakness. But she is, two, she is focused on the self-improvement. Notice she said, if you're going to end up learning something, or if you're trying to improve on something, the only way to do it is to do it. 3, Dufresne is a hands-on prince. She doesn't rule from on high and just has all the minions do the work. She will put in the legwork. So, I thought I'd make tonight a little special, and I needed to find an opportunity. I need to find an opportunity to introduce Dufresne and the Camarilla in a way that doesn't end up going, yes, we're obvious bad guys, haha! Like, no. One of the best characters to do that with is Mouse. If it would have happened with Rashad, would have been shut down immediately, right? If it happened with Violet, oh, you better believe that would have ended abruptly. If it happened with Nightmare, it probably would have come to blows.
Probably.
Right?
Knowing him.
Mouse is the one vector where we can introduce this and move on. Yeah.
I was Laurie, talking to Volvo.
Oh, go ahead.
I was talking to Volvo for a minute that if it somehow had ended up differently, Mouse may have been a Ventrue at one point.
May have been a Ventrue. I can honestly, I could see Mouse going
doing any clan really. But...
Toreador or Brujah would be my two picks for Mouse. Toreador or Brujah would definitely be if he wasn't embraced one way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's Nosferatu.
Yeah. Which is good. I do like that. I do like it. But yeah, Laurie, one of the things I try to do is if this was a Camarilla setting, all of these other individual Camarilla pieces would have been very well established, and yeah, you would get this, if you're dealing with the Prince one-on-one, that is a huge thing, right? But as far as them, they basically just moved in kind of situation, so very little established in Detroit. So we get to end up watching on how a Camarilla might do that.
Right.
Yeah. Does she have the abs that crack walnuts? Yeah, Potence is a hell of a drug. Alright. So, everybody, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to log off. I'm going to take maybe a 20-minute break just to order a pie, get some stuff together, and we're going to get into the VTM workshop. So, for those of you who don't know...
How to ST one-on-one.
AutoST 1-on-1? Okay, we'll work on that. Why not?
Like flow stuff.
Yeah. McStabber, I hope that you do enjoy this, and I hope that you have been enjoying the game all in all. I know you came in late, along with Lady Dare, but I'm very glad to have met you both, and I'm hoping that it's been fantastic for both of you. Big thing is that you can call her Miss Shanky. Lady Dare.
Lady Dare, Mrs. Shanky.
Yeah. I don't know. The Lady Dare. I kind of like that.
But yes,
Yeah.
I enjoyed tonight. It was great.
Kai, thank you very much for joining. We're gonna log off for a second. I'm gonna be. I'm going to end up trying to end up getting something. We're going to touch on how to run a one-on-one game. I'd like to also be able to like maybe do some character designs, and maybe I'm gonna talk a little bit about my elders, right? Because last thing I want to do is make an elder that is just so far above that it's like this person is untouchable and what they say is no. These are characters. And the more you kind of put them up here, the less of a character and more of an archetype they are. That's it. Right? And let's be honest, from an ST perspective, our NPCs are our babies. We want to give them the love and attention, and it's not that you give them all the flex in the world. You kind of got to give them something more. And we'll talk about that something more when we come back. Give me 20 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us. Say goodnight, Coffee Cat.
Good night. Sleep tight.